Hi there, welcome to my very first YouTube video. I am the owner of Southern Girl Luxe Hair. Luxe, that's L-U-X-E. Do me a favor and hit subscribe. Let me introduce myself to you. Like I said, this is my very first YouTube video, so it'll get better as it goes on, but whatever happens, we're just gonna roll with it. I thought these were anti-glare glasses. I don't know what's happening with this ring light and whatever, but we're gonna just do this thing, okay? I'm gonna set my timer so that I can make sure we are through in 20 minutes. Do me a favor, hit the subscribe button so that I'll know how many of you are watching, and please leave comments. Let's be respectful, please, and let's be courteous. I will read the comments and respond to you if you have questions, if you need information as we go further. A little bit about myself. I made a decision to start my own hair business after a girlfriend mentioned to me several times over a few years. She says, you need to start your own hair business. And I was like, I don't think so. I don't think so. I was a product of corporate America all of my life. And I got to a point, I just couldn't take it anymore. I was in management and just couldn't take it. I just didn't like it. The racism there, the fighting to be treated equal, fighting to be paid equal. It just was just too much for me, too much for my spirit, and I felt so free when I left. So I understand. There goes my ring light. I don't know what's happening, but we're gonna roll with it. It just bothered my spirit, and I had to go. So the freedom that I feel is just wonderful. I've had businesses before. I've been an entrepreneur before, many times. I always worked contract for Fortune 500 companies, so I have that flexibility. But with this particular purpose that I have is to empower people, primarily of color, in this industry, the hair extensions industry, because we are the primary consumers, yet we are so underrepresented, which really bothers me. As we know, China is the biggest player in the industry by far. They have absolutely taken over the industry, and in that, I personally feel they've taken advantage of us. But then I think to a degree we've allowed them to do that by purchasing from them and allowing them to give us products that whereby they are not being honest, they're not being transparent, they're not providing the best that they can provide for us. They come into the community and they take over, they open up these businesses only in our community on every corner, from the nail salons to the beauty supply, and the products they bring in there only represent their industry. And you can't go, what I mean by that is that they're only selling their stuff for the most part, and they make a lot of money off of it. So if you have a product, China, as we all know, are just geniuses in marketing, and they also are quite criminal minded when it comes to knocking off products. You can look up the lawsuits and the back and forth, even with Apple, and literally every major luxury brand has confiscated, millions of dollars worth of fake goods from China and their vendors. We're gonna leave that light off, okay? If you can't see me, we'll work on it, on the next one. But almost all of the luxury vendors that I know of have confiscated millions of fake products all over New York, Houston, and every time those products are shipped through customs, whether they're flown in or shipped when they come over, primarily from China, they're knockoffs, lashes, you name it. Just go online. It's just ridiculous. So I have those feelings about China because they make their money off of us, but they don't give back to the community. Of course they don't. I mean, lately they've been hiring maybe one or two people of color, but they don't provide benefits. They definitely don't give decent salaries. There's no vacation, and they're just not the most respectful employers. And then the product that they sell us is so inferior, and that's what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to teach you about that. But I just feel that because we are the primary consumers of hair extensions, we need to have ownership, and we don't have ownership. right now, the current reported annual statistics are about, this is pre-COVID, was about 2 billion. We all know that that's not correct in the industry. We know. And the reason we know it's not correct is because the only way that they're able to keep up with it here is if those duty and tax forms are filled out right. So what I mean by that is when you're shipping something to another country, many of you know that when you ship something to someone in another country, you have to pay duties and you have to pay taxes. So if you don't put the correct amount on there and customs opens it, you can get in trouble. They can confiscate that package. You can lose all of your money. And you can also face criminal charges because that's fraud. That's fraud, and you're frauding the government. So customs can open it on both ends, and oftentimes they do. You know, when you're flying in from another country, you have to, when you're at the airport, you get on the flight, they will ask you, did you bring anything? Do you need to claim, duty on anything that you brought? When you're at the airport, you see duty free. So that's what I'm talking about. And it can be very expensive when you're talking about hair and large volumes of hair. I am a hair company. I don't have a few bundles of hair. I don't have 100 bundles of hair. I have bins and bins and crates of hair. I have a lot of hair that I invested in. So my investment is pretty significant. So for me, the game is real. It's real. And I wanted to introduce my hair company to people that want to start their hair business and you're looking for a vendor. Look no further. I'm your girl. I've done the research already for you. So we'll talk about that a little bit further, but let me get into the meat of things. So the statistics. So when you look at the real statistics, which we don't have, but we're thinking it's gotta be like 8 to 10 billion easy. Because China does not report anything accurately. They just don't. They don't intend to because they don't want to have to pay their fair share here. So they try to ship to you via Alibaba and some of the smaller mechanisms. They're not small in terms of the amount of commerce. They're small in terms of shipping, let's say, what am I trying to say? The trailers, the big trailers and cargo of hair that you would ship overseas. They don't want to really do it like that. So you guys that are buying from them, you go online and you buy from them. And so they're able to fly it over, FedEx, fly it over DHL. So a lot of that is it's a little underreported, but in all actuality, the numbers are far greater. And yet we do not have ownership. Why don't we have ownership? I know a lot of people that would love to start a business, and COVID has brought that out of many people lately. So in the fact of you wanting to start your own business, that's why I'm here. A lot of people sell hair. I sell human hair. It is absolutely 100% human hair. And I'll tell you the difference between the two. But back to the statistics. When you look at all the money that's spent between hair and the hair industry and the beauty industry, we are the primary consumers of that, even in the beauty industry. Yet our products are being knocked off. Our products are being underrepresented. It's not that we don't have the talent. It's not that we don't have the people that can produce the formulas and produce the actual products that are good products. It's because they're beating us at our own game and they're using money to do it. And it really irritates me. So I'm trying to gather all of the women and men that want to start their own business, that want to take back their economic power from China. And it's a lot of money to be made. So think about it. If there are $10 billion, and even in a conservative amount, if you just say 5 billion, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money for me to make, for you to make, and anybody else that wants to be in the hair business, but not from China. You can't be in the hair business and take back your economic power from China if you're buying from China. Do you get what I'm saying? You just can't do it. So you might say, well, where else am I going to buy from? I'm going to tell you who else you're going to buy from. So when we talk about China, China has, the reason I'm so on China, which I've already kind of told you, China is the knockoff master. China does not have what we call a raw product. Do you know what a raw product is? A raw is the base of what that product is, what you need to make that product a business. So let's say chicken. Chicken is the raw product for Kentucky Fried Chicken, for Popeyes, for Chick-fil-A. It's chicken, okay? Without the chicken, they couldn't control the industry. They couldn't make the money they make. They would have to go elsewhere. So the reason they're able to make so much money is because they have the chicken. They get the chicken. Actually, the chicken comes from Tyson and Pride Farms and other chicken vendors. But China is not even that. China is not even that. China takes hair that they find from rats, cats, dogs, goats, you name it. You name it. That's where the bulk of their hair comes from. And they take hair from each other. They buy a little hair from India. Now, let me tell you why I say that. When you look at the hair that comes from China, you have a lot of problems oftentimes with the hair that comes from China. That's why they decided to sell synthetic hair, to manufacture synthetic hair. And synthetic hair is simply, it's non-human. It's created from plastic, so it's chemicals. So think about that. When you put synthetic hair on, you're laying chemicals up against your scalp, which gets into your pores. So I know when you're young, you don't think about that. But when you get older, you start having cancer, you start losing hair, you start having alopecia, you start having irritability, maybe you start having headaches. You can't figure out what the crap is going on. Think about it. What have you been putting in your system? Chemicals. Synthetic is chemicals. So when you find that China is selling hair that is 48 inches long, 80 inches long, no such thing. It's not. Typically you're going to find hair that is actual real human hair. It's not going to get typically beyond 32 inches. It's kind of hard to find after 30, 28 to 30 inches, but it can go up to 32 for some vendors have that hair. And the reason why is because it's hard to find hair that has grown on a human head that long. And it is more valuable. I trade only in India. My suppliers are in India. I have two vendors, owners of two factories in India that I deal with. The two owners I talk to, one of them all the time, just been so incredibly helpful to me with the business, with the education and everything. And I have a guarantee with my hair. But China, on the other hand, first of all, the government of China, if you notice, everything that China sells obviously is made in China. China is not going to sell anything that's made in the US. It is hard to go to China and find an American person in business selling something in China. We can't go there. There are going to be a random few, but I mean, it's just really very, very few. It would be hard for you to find that. You cannot go there and make the money, any kind of money, like what they make here. If you go to their beauty supply stores, what they have a tendency to do you remember Goody, the hair company that just had every type of product? They have a product, I think they call it gooey or something. So they take a name and they try to replicate the product. They're very good with the packaging and everything. And it got to a point to where when you were in their beauty supply stores, you thought you saw perm relaxers from all the brands that we would use as African-American women. They were actually copying the graphics and the packaging, and they were making the actual relaxer, the chemical product themselves. So they have been in trouble so many times. Even Apple has one of the largest lawsuits after them for stealing the proprietary documents for their iPhone, because they had people coming over that Apple would hire. You know, China's very brilliant in information and technology. Now, I've never agreed with Trump on anything, but when it comes to China, I agreed with him. They are master stealers. They're master marketers. And let's talk about how they market. When you look at the different types of hair that they talk about: Malaysian, Peruvian, what else do they talk about? Yak, Indonesian, Vietnamese, Cambodian. Now they're talking about mink hair. No such thing on each one of them. No such thing. And let me tell you why. There are no women in Malaysia, Cambodia, Peru, Indonesia, Vietnam, or Cambodia sacrificing their hair. The bulk of the hair comes from India. That's my source. My source is in India. And the reason we say that is because India has so many people on the planet. And the women there, their hair grows. It grows at a very good rate. It's so healthy. It's beautiful. It's long. And it is a religious practice of them to go to temples. They journey to the temple hundreds of miles. Now, since COVID, that's not what they do because the temples have been shut down for the most part. And keeping my vendor, one of my vendors, my raw vendor, was shut down 3 times. My other vendor that I buy the bulk of my product from has not been shut down 1 time because he's so large and they have so much money as a family. They were able to purchase such a broad amount of hair. So the hair in India is collected when the women visit the temples. It's a cultural thing that they do. And they pray and they offer their hair as a blessing. It's called tansuring, T-O-N-S-U-R. And so the hair is collected by barbers. Barbers take a straight edge razor, if you know what that is. Just imagine a knife that is super, super sharp. Barbers, old-fashioned barbers use it and they shave it from the head. And in shaving it from the head, they remove the hair from the scalp, which makes the hair more valuable because then it's cuticle intact. What is cuticle intact? Cuticle intact kind of is like this. This is my trusty hair color wheel here. So imagine this being the cuticle, okay? And when you pull hair from your scalp and you look at it, it's got a little knobby little something on it that's a little lighter color. It's actually your cuticle. That is your DNA on that cuticle. So if you actually take the hair that China claims is cuticle intact, one donor, it's not. If you were to take that and have it tested, they will tell you the origin of that hair, if it was a human or if it was an animal. They could tell you what type of an animal it was. Because, you know, when they run DNA tests, they can tell everything. That's how most criminals, you know, are convicted on DNA. Many of them are. So in India, that cuticle is intact when they shave it from the head and they have that hair and they catch that hair, and that hair then is bundled and it's cleaned, it's picked for strays, you know, for gray hair, lice, and it's conditioned. It's shampooed and it's conditioned and it's sewn, it's bundled into a weft, which you know that already. You've heard that on all the other videos. So that's what makes the cuticle so important. If you can find cuticle intact hair, you're going to pay a lot more for it. Now, let me tell you something of also why that cuticle hair is so important, because it runs in one direction. It's not mixed up. It's not any good as cuticle hair if the hair is going in different directions. So if the cuticle, if it's correct, it should be like this, and the hair will be bundled like this. So this would be the cuticle. Everything I have is cuticle intact. But if the hair is mixed and you've got it like this, to where, you see what I'm saying? You got, you know, it's going in different directions, and this is the top of the hair that's being sewn into the weft, when in all actuality, the cuticle is down here, or it's just going, you know, like every kind of direction you could possibly think of. It has to all go in one direction if it makes sense. You can't have the ends meeting with the cuticles. It's just not, it's not valuable. So you have to have an honest factory owner that's going to give you that and be honest with you. You can't find that typically in India, because India collects the dominant amount of their hair that they end up fusing together with machines and processes to form longer hair. Now, when you look at hair from India, especially when you go to the nail salon, you know how you look at, sometimes they have their hair colored. You ever notice how their hair is like a funky color? It's almost like a pumpkin color, like an inter-office envelope color, because their hair doesn't color well. Their hair has a pigment that's so dark, it doesn't accept color. It doesn't take color well at all. Certainly light colors, it does not. It's kind of like the Kardashians. You know how their hair is so dark, doesn't take color. Armenians, their hair doesn't take color well. A lot of people from the Middle Eastern world, their hair, the blacker it is, it doesn't take color well. The pigmentation is it's far too dark. So what you have with China's hair, and this is how we know they're not really using their hair as real hair. It's just not valued. I'm sorry, my timer went off. So do you mind? We're gonna keep going a little bit. So you have the hair that they claim is real hair. It's not. When you look at Asian hair, Chinese, Korean, Cambodian, Vietnamese, their hair is very well. Let's just stick with China and Korea, Japan. Their hair is very black. It's incredibly shiny and it's long. And the Korean hair can kind of go kind of funny, but it doesn't hold a curl. It doesn't hold a curl. It doesn't hold a color, and it's typically not luscious. There's not volume. It's not thick. Now, when they talk about Malaysian hair on a Malaysian woman is indeed quite beautiful. It's black, it's very pretty, it has volume, it has good shine, but they're not shaving their hair. So you're not getting Malaysian hair. It's a marketing term that China has used. And the same with Peruvian women. When you look at Peruvian hair from the women of Peru, look it up on Google. The women of Peru, their hair is very, very black. It is so black. And it's very, 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 very straight. So when they say Peruvian hair, they're really emulating the type of hair that the women from those particular lands have. The same for Cambodian and the Vietnamese women. And let's talk about yak. Have you ever seen a yak? A yak is an animal. It's a very unattractive animal. It's just ugly. The hair is horrible. It roams in the hills of China, in the hills of Peru and different places like that, Tibet. It's an ugly, ugly animal with the worst hair. So when they talk about yak hair, they have taken hair and they've chemically treated it and done things to it so that it will look like yak hair. But don't think for 1 minute they're not taking yak because they eat every possible animal that's crawling the face of the earth. They do. They have more animal farms than anyone. Hence COVID. That's supposedly how COVID got to be. And so the animal farms supply China with a lot of the hairs they use to make their wigs and weaves. It's not human hair. Yes, they have some people that they will cut their hair, but it's not as plentiful. It can't compare to how plentiful the hair that comes from India is. It just can't compare. Now let me go back to India. Let me revisit to India. So when the hair is collected in India, people can bid on the hair, but you cannot think that if you have money, you can just come to India and bid on hair. The Indian government licenses people to be able to purchase their hair. So let's say you have, last I was told, it was like years ago, it was like, if you have $500,000, which for us is a lot of money. It's not when you go to the temples to buy hair when they're auctioning the hair off. The best hair fetches the best price. It makes sense. So even though you get hair from India, you may not be getting the best hair from India. I got the best hair from India. I have raw hair that will last 4 years, 5 years, 6 years if you take care of it. Really great hair, beautiful hair. And when you look at Indian women, they truly do have beautiful hair. It has a great shine, it's healthy. Their hair grows very well, fast. You have different women in different India based on their DNA, where they live. It may have like a brown tint to it. Some may have more of a browner or a brickish tint to it, reddish brickish tint. The wavy, naturally so. So when you talk about raw hair from India, I know I'm kind of jumping around, but try to follow me. The raw hair from India only has 3 different textures, and the textures are straight, wavy, and curly. That's it. When you get to talking about other textures for raw hair, it's not raw. Raw hair is hair that has never been touched or treated or manipulated in any way. No chemicals, no heat instruments, nothing. Nothing. It's just natural from the head. It's raw. And the number 1 reason people damage raw hair is user error. It's heat. They apply too much heat to it. But raw hair is just beautiful. And all of my hair, once it's wet, it reverts back to its natural texture. And that's what true hair should do. So when we talk about how the hair is collected in India, if you come with 10 million, you're gonna probably get a better grade of hair. You're gonna do better, and you can go and you can bid on the hair and you can buy the hair. That's how it's done. So the lower grades of hair are fetched for less. And despite how much money China has, they can't really go over there and buy hair. They can partner with someone from India, because the hair trade in India is indeed a natural resource, if you will. So India controls the raw product, and I'm going to talk later about how important that raw product is. China doesn't have a raw product. They don't. So back to the Chinese hair. So China takes this hair from rat, dog, cat, goat, you name it. They take the hair and they fuse it together with all the different machines and whatever. But to China's credit, they are responsible for all the different textures of hair that you see, the body wave, the kinky, curly. So how they accomplish that, it's just simply steaming. They have these huge like double door stoves that they open, and they take the hair with usually some type of a rod or of sort, and you've seen that in the salon when you go get flexi rods or perms or things like that, and they wrap it around the hair and in a particular design. That's how they came up with the body wave. If you've ever seen them do it, it's really cute. The hair, they have it wet, saturated, and they make that S wave, and then it sets, and then they put it on a sheet, like a baking sheet, and they put it in the oven. That's how it comes out. So for the spiral, they take a little bitty, I'm gonna use this. They take a little bitty like tool, and they take the hair and they wrap it around. This is dry, so it's not gonna go so great, but they wrap it around constantly, and then they put it down, and it's wet, and then they put it on a baking sheet, stick it in the oven, the steamer, and when it comes out, it has that coily look. So most of the different textures China is responsible for. Now let me throw some knowledge to you that you probably didn't know. There's a guy by the name of Andre Walker. I think his name is Andre Walker. Andre Walker, if you remember, was Oprah's hairstylist. He was so good. He was really good. This young brother was a genius. He applied for a patent with the U.S. government patent office to come up with a hair typing system. You need to look it up if you're interested in selling hair. Typing, T-Y-P-I-N-G. So in that hair typing system, I had printed that off a long time ago, but I don't know where it is now. But in that hair typing system, he decided to describe and classify the different types of hair. So when you have the 4C and all these other different types, he's the brother behind that. And that's what you need to know, because China is so crafty at reproducing hair, synthetic hair and other types of hair, to where they can make it look like something it's not. And when you're selling hair, you at some point are going to get confused when you open up too many bundles or a bundle as you're labeling, and you're going to be like, okay, what is this? This looks like this. So it's very important that you know your hair. I sell every type of hair. I sell all types of human hair, just all of the different textures I sell. The only thing China does, which we haven't been able to get away from, that we take part in, is that the hair that I buy, China has a way of softening hair. It's a conditioning process, just like with my hair, my blonde, as you can see here, it is a true blonde. It's a beautiful blonde. It's the highest blonde, which is 613. I have all sorts of colors, but I just have some samples here that I test and try out all the time. The 613 is your platinum blonde. That's the highest blonde you're going to go to. So that type of blonde is created off of this hair right here, which is your darkest hair you're going to find, which is the average human hair. And so it's quite black. So the color is developed over a period of time, days actually. So it's a very slow process. It's not to damage the hair. And the same with the conditioning process. So the plant that we use, the factory that I use, has a partner. They partner with China just to do the softening of the hair. If they bought it from China, I would not do business with them. There's a gnat in here, so if you see me swatting, I'm not crazy, but the gnat is trying to drive me crazy. So that's just a little bit more knowledge. But if you think about it, check out the hair typing, TYPING system by Andre Walker, ex-hairstylist of Oprah when she had her show, her talk show back in the day when her hair was so gorgeous. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, you probably seen him. She's had him on so many times. Andre's kind of light complexion guy. But he's very, very brilliant when it comes to hair. So the hair trickery and the marketing genius of China is just extraordinary. We're going to come back with my next video with some more information, but I'm going to talk to you right now real quickly, and then we're going to close, about the raw hair market and the raw materials in the hair industry. So how you can tell who owns the raw product is India, because they have the hair, they have the people that donate the hair. That's why so much hair comes from India. China simply doesn't have it. But what China does is they use, like I said, rat cat, dog, goat, you name it, they use it. And no, there's no such thing as mink hair. Look up a mink and look up all of this, and you'll see it's just a marketing ploy, and they're so good at it. You got to give them their props. They're very good at it. So when you look at what that raw product is, I think I touched on it earlier, but I didn't go far enough. The best way to say that is, let's take the drug business. When you look at, I tell my guy in India all the time that the hair market in China is in India is very much like the drug cartel. And he said it's not. It is, because it's so heavily guarded and you can't get in it. It's kind of like Godfather of Harlem. You got the Italians or this. The Indians, nobody can get in it but them, because they want it to stay there. They protect it. The China hair market, nobody can get in it but them. They want to protect it. What about us? We're the end consumers. So isn't it time we reap the benefit of what we purchase so much? Instead of giving away money, we could have the money. And how would we do that? I know you're wondering. I'll tell you how. Do business with me. That's how you do it. And if we are all empowered to purchase hair, to sell hair, and no, not from China, we can take that economic power back. We can find ourselves making easily $1 billion. We can be making $1 billion in less than a year and a half if we get together. If just 200-300 of us get together and start selling hair. There's more than enough. There's no need to fight about it. It's more than enough hair out there, and you know there are more than enough customers. If that much money, 5 to 10 billion is being made in the industry, and they don't even have a correct amount. We're not even talking about all the extensions and all the wigs. So, I mean, do the numbers. It's just too much money out there not to get in the game and make it. So when we talk about the drug industry, when you look at the process, so the drug cartel, that's the top. That's the person at the top, the very, very top. They typically want to control the industry by controlling the product. So not the end user. So the cartel owner is the person that wants to make sure he takes care of all the drugs coming out of Mexico, Colombia, Venezuela, where the cocoa plant grows. He wants to make sure he takes control of the people out there, the men picking the cocoa plant. Even though they don't own even though they don't own that terrain. It's a very mountainous, lush terrain where that plant grows. They want to control that cocoa plant. So they take that. So that's the ownership of the actual product. And then they want to make sure that they manufacture it. So that's the second part of it. Then they want to make sure that they are taking care of the supply chain. That's how it moves, the supply chain of it all, the distribution. And they want to control the actual sale on the street. So when you see the guy on the corner, he's so far down. He is so far down. But the cartel owner, that's how they think. They want to control everything. And that's how they make their money. They're greedy. They don't want anybody else to control the money. Nobody. China is the exact same way. But China doesn't have the raw product. So what they're trying to do is create their own raw product by producing hair that is not real. They're telling you it's human hair, but it's not human hair. Rarely you're going to get human hair from China. Now, they do buy some Indian hair. They do buy some Indian hair, but very little do they buy. The government of China is not going to allow that because China makes so much money now in knockoffs and reproducing. They reproduce and knock off everything. And the government wants that. The government is not going to allow China to start bringing in millions and millions of dollars of hair and billions of dollars of hair to China and selling it. No, why would they do that? They want to be the originator of the hair and then sell it. So they invest in all of this manufacturing and all of these plants and warehousing so that they can create the hair is what I'm trying to say. So when you look at it that way, they're making a lot of money that way when you really think about it. And they're selling to you. They're selling to people of color that buy extensions. I hope I'm not sounding too scattered. I'm going to have to write better notes and keep looking down. I'm trying not to look down, but it's really necessary to cover this much information. So I hope I'm giving you information that you didn't have. There's much, much more that I want to give you, but I just want you to kind of get an idea of where I'm going with this. So again, let me reiterate. I want to find as many women and men, particularly of color, but all are welcome to purchase hair from me. I want to be your hair vendor. If you're looking for a hair vendor, look no further. I want to be your hair connect. I take the risk. And the reason why you never, ever, ever, ever give up your connect. So when you see these people on YouTube talking about, let me give you a vendor, let me give you a vendor. That doesn't really mean anything. You know, it's not of the level that they're usually getting paid for because who would really give up their vendor? Think about it. You're not gonna get a drug dealer to give up where they buy their drugs from. They'll get shot, they'll get killed. It's too much risk there. It's too much investment there. I'm not gonna give up my connect. Why would I? Out of all the hours I spent researching, out of all the money I spent researching, buying, and testing, I've had packages that were confiscated by customs. Thank God I was able to get it back. And let me tell you something else. Customs will call you. They call me at least 2 times. So when you order from like China and you look up top on the website and you see currency, you can't find anybody to call. And a lot of times sometimes they'll have a number, not a lot of times. You can't get an American person. You can't get a verifiable address, and the post office can verify an address for you. Google can verify an address for you. And then look up their business entity, see how they're registered. And that's another thing China doesn't do. They don't pay their proper taxes. They'll set up here and hide, and then they will send their money back home. They don't do anything to improve our community. We're paying all this money as the end consumer, the end user, but yet and still economically we're suffering. That has to stop. That has to stop. So if you understand that, and if you believe that, if you're with me, this is a movement to make that change. I think we can do it. I know we can do it. So again, I'm the owner of Southern Girl Luxe Hair. Check out my website. I have a really good website. It allows you also to finance your purchases if you are interested in purchasing hair. Now, for those of you that are stylists, or you're an entrepreneur, or even if you just want to try buying hair at a discount, go to my website. I have 3 different entry points for that. So stylist, there's a form. If you go to my website, turn it on so I can see too. You go up to the very top corner and you visit partners. At the menu, click on partners. There are 2 options. One for stylist, for hair pros, people in the hair industry, and the other one is for the entrepreneur. Click on whichever link applies to you. You have to apply, fill out the information. It'll come to us, and I'll review it, and then I will grant, if you provide the information, I have to make sure that if you're a stylist, you're licensed and it's current, and then I will grant you access to buy wholesale. So our wholesale page will be up in a couple of days. My designers are working on that now. And the same with an entrepreneur. If you are an investor as an entrepreneur and you want to purchase on a larger scale, you will get one-on-one coaching. If you're purchasing just a few bundles, you're going to get coaching with everybody else in a group type setting. I don't charge for coaching. If you're buying your product from me, why would I charge you for coaching? I just don't think I should have to do that. Doesn't sound okay. If you know people that want to sell, have them go there. If you're wanting to buy hair, but you're not ready, you don't have your business papers, your business bank account, you don't have a registered business name, that type of thing, there's another way for you to buy. It's a subscription plan that I have, a preferred pricing subscription plan. So it's really preferred pricing like wholesale that you would get, but you have to pay monthly $40. And the reason I'm charging you $40 is because you have to cover that cost of not having your license and having the privilege of buying. But you will recoup that money, that $40, you'll recoup that in your first purchase. You're going to save at least $150, $60 to $250, depending on the type of hair you buy. I have several collections of hair. I think I have 6 collections of hair. I just expanded my hair, discontinued a collection, built another collection. So my hair is fabulous. It's beautiful. It's everything that you see. And if you're interested in buying samples, I have it comes with a little carrying case. It's really cute. And you can have the different samples in there. But you don't get to see any of that until you apply. You have to apply, and you have to pay the $40 if you want to try your feet, test your feet in the waters of selling hair. You can make money. A lot of women are getting ready to buy hair for the holidays. You've got Thanksgiving coming up. Well, you got Halloween around the corner. You've got Thanksgiving coming up. You've got Christmas. Then you've got New Year's. And then you've got Valentine's Day. There's always a reason women are going to want to buy hair. And my hair does last. It's beautiful hair. It really is. It performs very well. You can do anything to it you choose. You can crimp it. You can flat iron it. You can curl it. You can roller set it. You can just do whatever you really want to do to it. It's great hair. The only hair that you can't color is the blonde because it's already colored. And if you feel funny about coloring it, have your stylist do it. A lot of the hair you see is high-end hair. If they're not familiar with high-end hair, don't dare let them touch it. High-end hair does perform. It's just different, and it's very expensive. So we can do it for you if you really have that hesitancy. And we also sell, like I said, designed wigs that are custom designed here in-house by me, and my wig master makes the wigs out of different collections, whatever I feel. If there's a wig you see that you want, you can have made out of any of the collections of hair that I have. Go to the website. It's really a good website. It will describe everything to you. So for those of you that are wanting to sell, like I said, you can either be the stylist or the entrepreneur, and you don't have to pay the $40 preferred pricing plan monthly. You don't have to do that. But if you don't have those credentials and you just want to try making money on the side a little, maybe your sister, your mom, your girlfriends, ladies there at the club, the strip club, everybody there pretty much wears hair. So sell them some hair. It's much easier to do. You can make just as much money if you have you know, your boyfriend, your brothers, your uncles, your friends that are on the street slinging. They don't have to do that. You can make just as much money selling hair as you can drugs. Actually, you can make more money selling hair, and there is no risk of you being arrested. So let's do the right thing, make money so we can take care of our families. Holidays is coming up. You're going to want to start buying nice dresses. People are getting out for COVID. You're going to start wearing nice clothes. You know, you want to go get that bag, not just the designer bag, but you want to get the bag with the money. And in doing that, hair is the way to go. And I'm your connect. You've already found your connect here. And in closing, the good thing about having a connect is that I've taken all the risk. You don't have to worry about if customs seizes your product, or if your product comes, you know, damaged. You don't have to worry about that. And we've all heard horror stories where people have bought hair and it wasn't what they thought it was going to be. It didn't perform the way that they said. The good hair was on top and bad hair is underneath, or they took your hair and never delivered. It's just so much money to be made. People are going to be very greedy and very dishonest. And then when you have, when you're selling hair, a lot of times with PayPal and Stripe, I don't do business with Stripe. I don't do business with PayPal unless you're international. I don't do business with PayPal. Because they can really be on the side of the person that took your money, and that's not what you want. And Stripe charges you like special interest finance. They charge too much because they say it's a high risk business, and it can be if you're dealing with a bad vendor, and it can be if you're dealing with a clientele that wants to take your hair and steal it and go back and tell the bank, I didn't get my hair, it wasn't what they said it was going to be. So we can talk about that later and how to avoid that. But go online to southerngirlluxehair.com, go to the top menu under partners, send in your application so that you can buy wholesale. And if you're interested in selling, you know, just send me a message under hello blackentrepreneur.hairboss.com. All of those links are on my website for you to contact us and go online. It'll be up in a few days after I approve you, and then you can go online, pay your $40, only if you're not a hair professional or an entrepreneur, and you can pay your $40 and you can buy hair wholesale and see how that goes for you. And you have to pay the monthly fee, otherwise you're dropped from the program. But you're going to come back because you're going to save so much money for people that you know, people in the office. Everybody knows somebody that wears hair extensions. I mean, have a hair bundles party. You know how to make your money. You know how to make your money, and everybody can use extra money. So with that, I hope I was able to give you information that you found valuable. I'm trying not to tell you things that maybe you've already heard and that's so plentiful out there on the websites. On YouTube. This is my very first YouTube video. It's a little funny. I'm going to get better at it, I promise. I need to hire a team to help me with that. There's so much going on. Drop me a line. Please subscribe right now. Don't forget. And drop me a comment. Thumbs up if you liked it. If you didn't like it, be respectful. Be polite. You know, if it's not for you, it's not for you. If there's something you want to know, just ask the question and I'll do my best to guide you and to answer you. If you have a question about our products, please get back with us. Go to my website, southerngirlluxehair.com. I'm Miss O, the owner. I am the sole owner. It's just me. Very, very proud of my business. That's pretty much it. Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you on our next video. I hope I didn't forget anything. I probably did. So my next video, when I come back, we're going to talk about, you know, the hair again, different types of hair. We're going to talk about Hair Connect, drop shipping, you know, issues you may have with the shedding, how to get the best value out of your hair, things like that. Okay, and if there's something you want to hear, drop me a line and I'll put that in there. But there will be more videos to come, and I'm sorry, I just kicked that. I'm gonna try to get those on a regular basis. Thank you. I appreciate you for sticking with me, and bye, Black. Let's make this money together.